The NHL exploded this week.
Boom.
Welcome to From Center Ice, the podcast. This is Courtney.
I'm Jacqueline.
And if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at vfcenterice@gmail.com, or you could follow us on Twitter at vfcentericepod or Instagram at FromCenterIcePod. And we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to From Center Ice on iTunes and shoot us a rating. Even if you don't listen to your podcast on there, it helps us grow. And another way to help us grow is by sharing the podcast with your friends.
That would be nice.
Word of mouth is everything.
Oh, yeah.
From Center Ice is a Rockford Buzz production. Rockford Buzz is an online resource for the community featuring a calendar of events, local business directory, positive news stories, and more. Just search Rockford Buzz in the Google Play Store or Apple App Store and follow on Instagram and on Facebook.
You finally did your homework.
I did.
Good job.
Thanks.
I'm so proud of you.
Did it today.
Nice.
Before we dive headfirst into the bog of eternal stench that was the NHL this week.
That's one way to put it.
I got to play hockey this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, sort of. I played versus a screen. I was shooting a puck at a screen.
Okay.
And I didn't score any goals.
Oh.
I was really bad at
no.
it. I know. I blame it on it just being a computer.
Did Jacob score?
He scored 2. I call BS. Because I hit the exact same spot he did, and it was like, big save by the goalie. The announcer was really rude and everything. It's like, what the hell? And the goalie just didn't move, so you couldn't, like, deke him out or anything, so you just had to, like, hit the spots where they were open.
Okay.
Yeah, but the new Skybox...
I was gonna say, so where'd you do that?
Yeah, Skybox is the new, restaurant bar at the Indoor Sports Center on Riverside.
That's where they have the, not table talks, what do they call them?
The Hog Talks.
Hog Talks, yes.
The Hog Talks.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, this year? Since they switched venues?
Yep. It's a really cool place. It looks really nice up there, and I guess they have a really good menu, but it was like 10 a.m., so we didn't eat or drink anything.
And where's that?
At the Indoor Sports Center on Riverside.
Oh, like by the baseball?
Yeah, it's like just past the baseball diamond.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is a cool place, and you can play a bunch of different sports. There's hockey, there's soccer, there's football, there's golf. We played zombie dodgeball.
Yo.
Yeah. And I beat Jacob in that and in soccer and in football, so I got
but
him back.
Not hockey, huh?
No.
How backwards is that?
I know! I know.
You don't even like the sports puck.
I was so mad. It was rigged. It was totally rigged. It's because the plastic puck had a Ducks logo on it.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Is it that hard to get a hold of an IceHogs puck?
Apparently. It was like one of those ones you use in, like, street hockey. It wasn't a real puck. But... yeah, it was... And plus the stick was too long.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so everything was wrong.
You're gonna have to bring your own equipment.
I know. I'm gonna have to practice and bring my own stick and be like, I swear I can do this.
I mean, at that point, just start playing actual hockey.
Well, first I need to prove I can beat this stupid computer goalie. And then I can play real hockey.
Okay.
It was fun, though.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Real cool.
Real cool.
So if you live in Rockford or the surrounding areas, you should definitely check out Skybox. Because you can play sports without actually playing sports.
Hell yeah. Let's go sometime.
Okay.
Okay.
When we can actually eat.
Yeah. I like to do that sometimes.
Me too. So we have a little bit more structure and more note-taking for this week because everything decided to happen.
So many of the things.
All of the things happened.
All of them.
And the first thing we have on our list, it somehow ended up being the least offensive thing that came out of the NHL.
I don't know. I'm pretty offended.
So these new jerseys for the Kings and the Avalanche for their outdoor game.
Oh my god.
They're
so bad.
Horrendous.
They're so bad.
It looks like an elementary school kid booted up Photoshop.
Honestly.
And just started clicking things, like, not knowing what they're doing.
No.
And, like, the Avs one looks like two different jerseys sewn together.
Yes.
So you have the top, right, with the Mountain A thing.
Right.
And then the bottom half just looks like an afterthought. Like, they were like, oh no, this only goes to your sternum. So we have to add some more fabric at the bottom. I thought it was a joke when it was released.
It looked like it.
It did. And then they released the Kings one.
Oh my god. They just diagonally
cut it in half.
Yeah.
So one half is black.
and put LA going real fast.
Yeah. It's so bad.
Why is this what
somebody got paid to do this. And not only did somebody get paid
somebody approved it.
And I'm guessing it wasn't just one person that approved it. This had to go through an approval process. So you have the designer, you have Adidas, and then you have the team, and all of these people have to approve these designs. And they looked at these two and went, yeah, that's good.
They could literally just have like a fan contest that would
seriously
make some bomb jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen some fan creations that are amazing.
I even saw a mock-up that took the concept of these two jerseys and just changed them a little bit, and they look so much better. So I don't know who they hired to design these jerseys, but they are absolutely horrendous.
It should not be this difficult to just design a good jersey.
Mm-mm.
It's not.
People
They're
defending
just choosing.
it were like, well, they're trying something new and trying to be bold, which I get, because a lot of jerseys are boring, but these are not
exciting.
a good way to go about it.
These are not exciting jerseys.
They're ugly.
They're just poorly designed.
Yes, they're very poorly designed. If you
It's-
want to be bold, like, add pink or something.
Right, dude. Anything other than what you've done.
So bad.
It just looks like such a joke.
It does.
They're really going to be out on the ice in these jerseys.
Yeah, I'm hoping they look better on the ice.
Please.
Kind of like how the IceHogs gray jerseys.
Yeah, those
do.
were a little iffy, but they look great on the ice. They're sharp.
Especially now that they changed the color of the numbers, so you can
So
actually,
you
see them.
read them. They outlined them in red now.
Yeah, and they're white. They used to be black.
Correct.
So they just kind of mix right in with the gray. Like, I don't know who that is.
Right? No, I see you down there.
Yeah.
But who are you?
You look familiar, but I don't know what number you are. So, I don't know. It's too late for them to change them now. They've already gone through this whole firestorm.
Oof.
And you'd
Rough.
have to... I mean, it would take like a day to design a new jersey, but it's not going to happen. So, poor Kings and Avalanche fans.
I feel quite bad for them.
I want...
Our winter classic jerseys for the Hawks are just beautiful.
So beautiful.
They're
So beautiful.
And you saw those Boston thirds, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, those are beautiful.
They're
too.
so clean.
Yes.
They're squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean.
Squeaky
Just black with some
stripes.
stripes.
And the B on the front.
Hell yeah.
They look really good. I want to see the sales numbers for the LA and the Colorado jerseys once they
Please.
start selling them.
Oh my god.
Obviously, people are going to buy them,
Right.
but I want to see how well they sell compared to other outdoor game jerseys.
Oof.
It'll be interesting. I'm sure somebody will write something about it.
Yeah.
But there is good news for Colorado in that their rookie defenseman is absolutely insane.
Tearing it up.
Insanely good. So this was tweeted on November 21st. So that was 4 days ago, and they've played since then. So the number's probably a little off, but it's from the 21st. And it's from Ryan S. Clark. And he said, Cale Makar had 21 points in 34 games as a freshman at UMass. Cale Makar has 24 points in 22 games as a rookie in the NHL.
Damn.
He just won't stop putting up points.
Okay.
Which
All
is
right.
insane because Colorado has so many injuries and yet
Yes.
they just keep winning.
They're still just
Yeah, but
killing it.
I guess when you have McKinnon up front, it cancels out a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And plus their goalies, but both of their goalies were injured for a while. So
Did you see that thing I retweeted with that kid around the pool? I have to find it now. About the abs. Wait. Anyone being frightened of the Avs in spite of their... Or everyone being frightened of the Avs in spite of their current depleted roster.
No! And let me see what you have!
It's just this little kid running with a knife.
It's hilarious.
Beautiful.
Oh, some more good news for Colorado.
Yes,
and this
I'm
was
living for it.
Tweeted today. The coach talking about Rantanen. He had a good practice today. He wore a red jersey, but took some hits. Some accidental, some on purpose, I think. He felt good, but he's going to need a couple of full team practices before he plays, so he's doubtful for Wednesday.
What was his injury?
I don't remember. I just know he's been out for, ever. Okay, it's November, so he's been out for a few weeks. But
I felt like it was a high ankle, but that just might be... I feel like there's
somebody
been a
else.
lot of those.
I don't know, but... So they're going to be even more terrifying once Rantanen comes back.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
They're killing it, and they're depleted.
They are. And something that we didn't mention last week, even though it came out on the day we recorded, was a note about the Hockey Hall of Fame. And since it's clear that Hossa won't play another game ever, he's eligible to be inducted next year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not confirmed that he will be. Obviously,
Right.
you have to go through the whole selection process. But
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Hell yeah.
If he was. And then there was a tweet from Incarcerated Bob.
Okay.
And I was like, is this actually legit? But he's followed by a couple players and hockey people. So I was like, maybe. So it said, Taylor Hall is officially on the trade market. Should start hearing rumors of teams getting involved after the holidays. And I just thought that was rather interesting.
Was that him that they had that video of? We talked about it, in the off season. And he was like, I don't know if it's going to be here.
No, that was Line A.
Okay.
Yeah, because Taylor Hall is a free agent after this season.
Okay.
And the Devils went, all in.
Right.
And they should be good by now.
On paper, they're fantastic, but...
they're not producing, and so Taylor Hall's on the trade market.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Me either.
Yikes,
But I wonder if it's actually going to happen, or... what? I don't know. So that's something to keep an eye on. That's pretty interesting. And then in more good news, the Flames activated TJ Brody from injured reserve.
Okay.
So that's good. So I don't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but he had a seizure on the ice during practice.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, so he just started seizing on the ice,
terrifying.
and they had to take him to the hospital and all that.
That's so scary.
Yeah. I don't know if they ever found out what caused it.
Seizures are nothing to mess with.
No, not at all. I didn't look into it, but he's activated from injured reserve, so
that's good.
He must be on the up and up, which is a good thing.
Good news.
Yeah. And then going around to more Canada teams, the Oilers tweeted today that James Neal's 10th power play tally of the season last night moves him into second in the NHL in that category. Neal has only recorded more power play goals twice in his career, when he put up 18 in 2011-12 and 11 in 2013-14. I don't... So, there was a trade this summer, or nearing the beginning of the season. I don't remember when it happened. And the Edmonton Oilers traded Milan Lucic for James Neal, straight up.
Yes.
Because neither was producing for their teams last year.
Correct.
And that's been pretty much the only down year for James Neal in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So I still don't understand what Calgary was doing when they just traded him straight up, 1-for-1, for Milan Lucic.
Oh, you know.
And now he's playing next to McDavid and scoring lots of goals.
Good for him.
I suppose. I mean, it would be nice to see McDavid back in the playoffs, but at the same time, it's just so fun seeing the Oilers fail just year after year.
I feel it.
And then I saw a tweet from James at account for hockey, which has become one of my favorite follows, actually.
Same.
Yeah. And he tweeted the other day, November 23rd. What's today again? The 25th. So it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, Saturday.
Said the NHL should implement the equivalent of a half-court violation during 3-on-3 overtime. And I was like, what? I don't quite know what you mean by that. But then he went on to say, once you cross center ice with the puck, going back over without an opposing deflection results in a face-off in your own zone and you can't change. Instantly stops teams from pulling back into their own zone. And I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I feel like it would cause more chaos in overtime.
Yes.
And I live for chaos.
You do.
Yeah.
You want to see the world burn.
I do. I do.
I could go for that.
I really don't hate that proposition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure coaches would find a way to make even that boring because they take the fun out of everything.
You know.
But I would like to see that happen.
Yes.
I doubt it ever gets implemented.
Oh, no, for sure. Not
because
a
it
thing,
makes
but...
sense, and the NHL never does anything that makes sense.
No.
So, which is actually a very good segue into our next section of our note, which is the suspensions that have come down upon the league in this past
week. Yes.
So I started from the least offensive of the bunch and just went in order from least to most.
Sounds good.
So first up we have Alexander Kerfoot of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Why is your cat attacking the wall?
I don't know. Baby, why are you attacking the wall? He also doesn't want to talk about the suspensions, I guess.
Are you okay?
What are you doing, buddy? Is there a toy over there?
Yeah, the little tinsel ball.
Oh.
That doesn't explain the wall, though.
No, it doesn't. I mean, he's a cat. That explains the wall.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, we have Alexander Kerfoot of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Correct.
And in a game against the Colorado Avalanche that we were just talking about, he boarded his old teammate, because Kerfoot came from the Avs, Eric Johnson, and received a 2-game suspension for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You really need to watch your sticks when guys are near the board, so I don't hate it.
It's just weird that it was only a 2-minute minor when they called it.
Right.
But it's still
not a
resulted
5-minute major.
in suspension, yeah.
It was rather weird, but I don't know, I guess they're trying to take boarding out of the game?
Marchand did exactly the same thing with no repercussions.
Yeah, but that's Brad, okay? Brad can do whatever he wants.
I fucking hate Brad Marchand.
Brad can do whatever he wants because it's the Boston Bruins and they can do whatever they want. Except win the cup.
I'm glad that was the stipulation on that. Yeah, no, I don't hate the suspension. It is what it is. Don't board guys. That's dangerous.
Yeah, his head went flying into the boards. You can't do that.
Yeah, no.
2 minutes for you can't do that. And then we have Garnet Hathaway of the Washington Capitals, who got suspended for 3 games for spitting.
Yes.
So, in the Capitals game versus the Ducks last week, I want to say it was. Mm-hmm. It wasn't this weekend. No. I believe it was during the week. So, here's how it played out. Brendan Leipzig leveled a Ducks player behind the net. And then there was a skirmish, a bunch of guys coming together, stick up for their teammate. And then during all of that, the Caps score a goal.
Right.
So, obviously being upset, the Ducks start a bigger skirmish and more Caps players get into it with them. So they're all behind the net. And then Hathaway and Derek Grant get into a fight. I don't know.
Question mark?
Yeah, Hathaway took him down to the ice. I don't know that there were ever any punches thrown. I think Hathaway got one in on him.
Okay.
And then, as the refs were trying to break it up, Eric Goodbranson skates in and grabs Hathaway. Well, he's also being grabbed by somebody else, so he's got, like, 2 guys grabbing his collar. And then Goodbranson sucker punches him with the hand holding his collar,
Mm-hmm.
in which Hathaway turns to him and in retaliation...
Retaliation?
It didn't seem like a word as it was coming out of my mouth.
Retaliatory?
Yeah.
Retaliation,
In
yes.
response to being
There
sucker
you go.
punched, Hathaway spits in Eric Goodbranson's face, and he ends up getting a match penalty
Mm-hmm.
and a 3-game suspension.
Mm-hmm.
So, he said he does not plan to appeal the suspension, and the NHL said that his suspension was because there was an intent to injure.
Wait. I missed that part.
Yes.
Okay.
Intent to injure with saliva. Intent?
He got punched in the face.
He did.
I am not, under any circumstances, defending his decision to spit in someone's face.
No,
because
that's
I
gross.
think that is one of the most disrespectful things you can do to someone.
Yes.
I think it's absolutely repulsive.
Yes.
I think, again, you just can't really top it in terms of disrespect.
I mean,
But intent to injure?
intent to injure.
I don't know about that one.
He intended to injure Goodbranson with his flying saliva.
That's a no-go. Spitting on someone is, I believe, simple battery? Legally?
Really?
Yes. Putting your bodily fluids on someone else is a form of assault.
Okay.
Um,
So, what about Brad licking people and getting 0 suspension?
he's Brad Martian. He can do whatever he wants.
Yes, but I saw there were a lot of takes about this on
Mhm.
Twitter because it just seemed like everything in the hockey world this weekend just kind of snowballed.
Yes.
So it started with something that we'll get to in a minute, and then there was the jerseys, and then
Mhm.
all this stuff, and then the spitting thing, and then everybody was going crazy about it. They were like, that's disgusting, he needs to be suspended for like 5 games.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but he just got sucker punched in the face.
Yes.
And, I mean, he spit on somebody. It's gross, right?
Mhm.
It's,
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
disgusting.
It's repulsive.
I would not like to be spit on, but I would rather have the saliva come from a distance than to have somebody's face on mine licking my cheek.
See, I disagree.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
There's something about saliva grosses me the fuck out.
Uh-huh. Which is fair.
Yes. The act of actually, like, hucking a loogie on someone,
Yes.
nothing disgusts me more.
Okay, but
Like,
what
the
if
fact
you,
that it,
what if
like-
you had just sucker punched them in the face? You kind of deserve it.
I'm not going... Yes.
Mhm.
It's... I don't really know how to put it into words.
I think it should have been a fine.
Yes.
I think 3 games is absolutely ridiculous.
I agree.
And it should not have been a suspension, seeing as Brad licking people twice
2 times.
was not a suspension.
No.
So this is his first offense.
Yeah, he doesn't have a history.
Fine
at all.
him.
Yeah.
It's
no.
gross. Fine him for being disgusting. I don't
Agreed.
care what your reason is.
I
If
agree.
you want to fine him for intent to injure with your flying saliva,
Yeah,
go
no.
for it.
No. It's ridiculous.
I think 3 games...
If they would have said he got suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct or something like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even that would make more sense, but...
Intent to injure is ridiculous, and I don't know how they can actually give that reason.
Nope. And, I don't know, 3 games is too steep for me.
Agreed.
Seeing some of the other incidences that have been either not suspension worthy in the minds of the NHL.
Yes.
Or have gotten the same amount of suspended games. Or, like we said, Kerfoot got 2 games. And that was... It was a dumb play, but they were pretty far from the boards when it happened.
Yeah, it wasn't...
Took it.
I don't think there was intent to injure on that one.
I don't think so.
It was a bad hit. You shouldn't have done it, but...
Right. It should have definitely been a penalty, maybe even a 5-minute major.
Right.
I would agree with that, because you can't board people. It's dangerous. But even a 1-game suspension, fine. Or 2, fine. But...
the fact that somebody
spitting
Yeah, the fact that he got
more
games...
than somebody...
Yeah, I don't understand it.
So,
There's no consistency.
No. So then, this was Hathaway's statement after the fact. He said, "It was tough to swallow because I want to be out there with the guys.
He could have used different wording.
Yeah, it was tough to swallow. I felt helpless tonight, and I let the guys down in the room, and I let the organization down. In the end, I respect the league's decision, and I had a fair opportunity to explain my side of things and how I saw the events unfold. And I don't plan on appealing anything. In my view, it was a hectic situation. Coming out of a fight, there was a second, third, and fourth man that came in, and I got sucker punched a few times, and I let my emotions take over. I had an emotional reaction that I regret, and I wish it didn't happen. No one regrets it more or is more disappointed than I am." I mean, hockey speak, whatever, but...
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yes. But then, Greg Wyshynski of ESPN wrote an article about it, and he tweeted on November 22nd, "My favorite part of this week's column, however, were my alternative suggestions for Garnet Hathaway to avoid suspension."
Okay.
And so I read them, and I have to agree this is probably my favorite thing to come out of this as well.
All right.
So here are Greg Wyshynski's suggestions for Hathaway to avoid suspension.
Okay.
Punching Goodbranson in the face.
Yeah.
While he might have still gotten a misconduct penalty, he would have avoided a match penalty, and there's a reasonable chance that he might have only gotten 2 minutes for roughing, because the NHL is a league where punching someone in the face after the whistle isn't worse than spitting at them.
Somehow, yes.
Number 2. Spearing Goodbranson in the groin.
Yeah?
Hathaway could have taken his stick, looked Goodbranson straight in the face, and stuck it right in the how do you do. It was only 2 years ago that there was an epidemic of sticks to the store in the NHL, and the punishments ranged from misconduct penalties to NHL fines or a 2-game suspension for a repeat offender, Brad Marchand.
Fucking Brad!
Because the NHL is a league where spearing someone in the groin isn't worse than spitting at them.
See, when this is brought up, all I can picture is Ryan Hartman in his Predators jersey, just like angrily pointing at his dick because he got hit and it wasn't called.
That was pretty funny. Number 3, licking Goodbranson on the cheek.
Yeah?
Hathaway's biggest failure was projecting his saliva at the Ducks defenseman rather than delivering it via his tongue and slathering it on an opposing player.
Ew.
He could actually do that, and then do that again, and the NHL would only say it's somewhat concerned, but would not actually levy any punishment, even if it's a playoff game, because the NHL is a league where licking someone, or multiple someones, on the face isn't worse than spitting at them.
You know, that, momentum behind the liquid. What?
Gross.
Yeah.
I just think it's more egregious to have it up close and personal with the tongue applied to the face.
I respectfully disagree.
I do not want the tongue applied to my face.
I mean, neither do I, but I would...
Especially Brad Marchand's tongue applied to the face.
That first lick was just a cheek, right? But then the
Yes.
second lick was, like, straight from chin to nose. Like, he touched teeth with the tongue.
I just want to
And
vomit.
just don't. Don't do that.
And then his final suggestion, fake sneezing on Goodbranson. Perhaps the best course of action for Hathaway. Campbell said he's legislated incidents in which players have spit at referees,
Ooh.
which set a quasi-precedence for players spitting on players, one imagines. But a well-masked fake sneeze could not only deliver the payload on Goodbranson, but avoid any comparable actions, because the NHL is a league where, well, we assume it can be hoodwinked by an expertly placed fake sneeze.
Just... I'm just trying to picture this.
I just wish it would have happened.
Yeah.
But also going back to Hartman, when he fake punched the guy in the face and
Oh my god.
made
that
him
was
flinch.
Fantastic.
It's
I miss
hilarious.
him.
So do I. He's such a little pest.
Yes.
That's how you
it's
be
great.
a pest without being Brad Marchand.
Exactly. That's how you you just fuck with people.
Yeah, but also Brad's one of the best players in the league, unfortunately.
I need you to never say that again.
That is just me laying aside any bias and strictly going off of play that does not involve licking of any kind. Just play before the whistle has blown. He has unfortunately blossomed into one of the better players in the league, and it's rather disgusting that it's
thank you.
happened. Almost as disgusting as him applying his tongue to the face of other players.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we move on to why the Hathaway suspension is even more bogus, and possibly the most, I hope, the most egregious thing that is going to happen in the NHL this season.
Mm-hmm.
We have Robert Bortuzzo of the St. Louis Blues.
The Booze.
The Booze, a notoriously dirty team that their fans refuse to admit and or accept.
Yeah, they're like super not, they don't recognize that at all.
No.
They just refuse to believe it at all. They don't
Yes.
see it somehow.
So, St. Louis's, this was an NHL player safety tweet. St. Louis's Robert Bortuzzo has been suspended for 4 games for cross-checking Nashville's Victor Arvidsson.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took a little look-see at the video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw it when it initially happened on Twitter. I wasn't watching the game.
Right.
But today, when I was making these notes, I sat down and I went frame by frame, and I watched it a couple of times, and in slow motion. So, in the first period, between the Blues and the Preds,
Yep.
Nashville was up 2-0.
They were.
So, Blues obviously angry.
Anger.
The Preds were on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
So it was clearly not going well for the Blues in this
No.
game, because there was still like 13 and change left in the first period.
Whew.
Yeah. So, I don't remember who took the shot, but a shot's taken on Bortuzzo's side of the ice. He goes down to block it, and in doing so, the puck is directed towards the front of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is one defender back. I don't recall who it was for the Blues, and there are 2 Nashville players. One is Victor Arvidsson, one is somebody else I wasn't paying attention to because I was looking at one side of the ice to see what happened.
Really?
So Binnington makes the save,
Mm-hmm.
and then he makes the second save, and in doing so, the puck goes behind the net.
Correct.
Yes. So Bortuzzo is slow to get back to the net because he was down on his knees blocking a shot, and when he gets back to the blue paint where Victor Arvidsson is standing, not impeding Binnington in any way, Bortuzzo flies in with 2 hands on the stick and cross-checks Arvidsson, and then he goes flying face first. It initially looked like he hit his head on the crossbar, but I think he hit his hand and his head missed it. But either way, he goes flying into the net.
Mm-hmm.
Net doesn't get dislodged, so Binnington is still goalying and trying to make sure the puck does not get past him.
Right.
And play.
Like completely the other side of the net.
Yes. Play is going on all around them. Bortuzzo stands up, looks at the ref, sees that the ref is calling the penalty for cross-checking,
Mm-hmm.
throws his palms up like, why are you calling a penalty for me cross-checking this guy, which you can't do that. So Arvidsson is slowly pulling himself up off the ice, and while he is down on all fours, Bortuzzo gets angry at something or just goes full caveman takes his stick, puts 2 hands back on the stick, which he did not have because he was going palms up to the ref, asking why there was a penalty. So he intentionally grabs it with 2 hands again, and Arvidsson is on all fours, and he applies the stick directly to the lower back of Arvidsson, where there isn't much protection because your chest protector doesn't go down that far and your hockey pants only come up so far.
Correct.
Hits him right in between that, in which he flops back down on the ice because obviously. He could have broken his spine by doing this. And then Bortuzzo gets a 4-game suspension.
Yeah, Arvidsson left the game.
He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks.
He could have, ruptured a kidney or something.
He could have done a lot of things.
There are a lot of...
Could have broken his back.
Very...
That could have been a career-ending hit.
Yes. And it was... There's no excuse for it.
No, he was already getting a penalty called.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time the Blues touch the puck, the whistle's going to blow. So you just bank on your goalie making the save, hopefully, or your other defenseman touching the puck. So he just went full seeing red, caveman,
yeah, he had to have
anger,
blacked out,
and just applied the stick directly to the spine.
Full force. Both hands.
Yeah, both hands, full force, just down on him while he's down on all fours. 4-game suspension.
Fuck that, dude.
Mind you, the suspension we were just talking about for spitting on somebody.
3 games.
3 games. Which makes that even more bogus to get 3 games for spitting on somebody with the intent to injure with your flying saliva.
Fuck off.
When Robert Bortuzzo cross-checks the guy in the spine and gets 4 games, and it's not the first time he's done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I believe it was last year, maybe it wasn't last year, in a game against the Islanders. I don't recall who was on the ice. I've just seen it going around.
But it was basically the exact same thing.
The exact same thing. The guy's down on all fours. Bortuzzo's over him, 2 hands on the stick. This time he cross-checks him twice in the back. So, 4 games for a repeat offender of doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
4 to 6 weeks, Arvidsson's out. It might seem extensive. It might seem over the top. I feel like he should be suspended for 4 to 6 weeks. If you have the intent to injure someone, you injure them.
Yep.
They are out for this amount of time. You don't get to play until they do. I know that sounds ridiculous, and that's very dangerous, there could be a lot of things that could go wrong with that.
And I have seen a lot of takes like that, and my next note is a tweet from Greg Wyshynski again.
Oh, I didn't even see this!
Yeah, Greg's been all over the place this week.
Okay.
So, he said, Bortuzzo's suspension has reignited the eye for an eye debate, where an assailant should miss as much time as the player he injured.
I should probably, read ahead before I, go off on rants.
He goes on to say, that's fraught with many issues, like the fact that it would have meant Joe Thornton getting a 97-game suspension for a Perron hit in 2010.
Ooh.
So, if the league were to implement something like this, and say you have a star player, say, since Colorado is banged up with injuries and they are still winning, say Nathan MacKinnon does something.
Oh, no.
Not that this precious little Canadian boy would ever do anything wrong, but Nathan MacKinnon does something, and the player that he does something to gets injured, right?
Okay. Yes.
Say that person is, let's go back to Ryan Hartman.
Okay.
Say Nathan MacKinnon injures Ryan Hartman.
Yes.
Not a fair trade, right?
No.
Nathan MacKinnon, star of his team, Ryan Hartman, 4th liner, maybe 13th forward on the team.
Okay.
So, Minnesota and Colorado are in the same division.
Yes.
Wouldn't you just keep Hartman out for a few months so Nathan MacKinnon can't play?
Yikes.
Yeah. So that is why...
It's a slippery slope.
That is why you cannot implement something.
I understand
to
why
that
it's not
extent.
practical.
Yes. But going along your line of thinking, 4 games was not nearly enough for the type of malicious hit that Bertuzzo
Yeah.
laid on Arvidsson.
It doesn't get much more malicious than that.
It should have been 5 or more games.
Absolutely.
And 5 is on the low end.
Yeah. He was already being called for a penalty.
Yep.
He got mad about being called for a penalty.
Yep.
He intentionally took that out on the player that he took the penalty against.
Yep. And he got 2 minutes for cross-checking.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
The league is so inconsistent. It's ridiculous. There's no reliability.
So-
There's no accountability.
No. Going back to the suspension that we were talking about before,
Which one?
Hathaway
Okay.
was kicked out of the game
Yeah.
for spitting.
Mm-hmm.
Bortuzzo, who could have broken somebody's back,
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes for cross-checking.
Asinine.
Yep.
Just, there's no excuse.
Where is the consistency?
It doesn't exist in the league.
Nope.
It's
Oh.
all up in the air.
The best thing I saw to come out of this whole Bortuzzo situation are the meatheads on Twitter who were
God.
saying that 4 games is perfectly fine because maybe there was an intent to injure, but there was no hit to the head.
What?
Yep.
Excuse me?
Mm.
What does a hit to the head have to do with anything?
Well, the NHL's trying to get rid of head injuries. So
That's not the only type of injury
so
that
because the head wasn't targeted, obviously he doesn't deserve as many games.
Who are these people and what kind of mental gymnastics are they doing?
That's why I
To
didn't
be
save
able-
these tweets because they don't even deserve to be named.
Do
But
they really believe that?
I hope not. I hope they're
Jesus.
just being idiots on Twitter, which we can all be at times.
Oh, for sure.
But that was maybe the best take I saw to come out of this whole Bortuzzo situation.
Wow.
Since
That's-
Arvidsson was not hit in the head, 4 games
Do
is
they
enough.
realize that most career-ending injuries are not head injuries?
Probably not. Or that, if you hit the spine just right, you could get
You
paralyzed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that the spinal cord is connected to the brain.
What?
Yeah.
Boy, what a mess.
Yeah. Speaking of messes, our next thing to talk about is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to put things in order of which they happened
Okay.
because it seems like a more civilized discussion that way. And I'm going to try to enter the Maple Leafs talk with as little... Let's see, what's the word I'm looking for?
What is the word?
With as little speculation
Okay.
as possible.
Okay.
So, early last week, Babcock got fired.
Correct.
And when I made the note in our Google Doc that said Babcock ?
Mm-hmm.
That was before he got fired.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to talk about should Mike Babcock
Yes.
get fired.
We talked about this
Yes.
off the pod.
Yeah, off the pod, which sometimes we just don't record our hockey discussions when we should. Yeah, so I made that note on our doc before Mike Babcock was relieved of his duties as the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall which day he was fired, but it was after Monday, and it was early last week sometime. So Mike Babcock was fired. Sheldon Keefe, who was the head coach of the Toronto Marlies, was called up.
Yeah, given the promotion.
Yeah.
He was, I would say called up. That's probably not the correct
He
term,
was
but-
called up, and then he was given a contract for coaching the NHL.
There you
so,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't named, like, interim. He was named the coach.
That just gave me, like, trauma flashback to Derek
I
King.
know,
Okay.
I know. Same. It hurt me to say, but it had to be said.
Okay, so Sheldon Keefe named the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which was always going to happen,
Yeah.
barring him wanting to go to a different organization.
That was the plan.
It was always the plan for Dubas to have his coach, who is Sheldon Keefe, but Mike Babcock was hired before Dubas took over, and he was on a lengthy contract, so
Correct.
there wasn't much Dubas could do until something occurred where he was fireable, and they were not playing well to start this season.
No.
At all. And they had a 6-game losing streak, and then they lost 6-1 to Pittsburgh, and then they played the Kings, and Fleury had the save of the year.
Kings? Fleury?
Or not Kings, the Knights. I was
There you
thinking
go.
royalty.
Yeah.
The Knights. Some K team. I don't know. I'm as delusional as Don Cherry.
Oh, hey.
I'm not racist like Don Cherry. I'm just as delusional as Don Cherry.
Just go off on these rants.
Yeah, so Fleury of the Vegas Golden Knights.
I also just had a really weird mind slip. I saw your tattoo. I was like, wow, I have one of those too.
Yeah, we got them at the same time.
I know.
Same stencil. Same
Placement. Same
Yep.
everything. It's just like, wow. Would you look at that?
Okay, Don.
We can cut that. I just, my head did a
Yeah,
little.
so Fleury made maybe the save of the year, or as people on Twitter coined it, the save that got Babcock fired. And after then, he was let go. The good news is the Leafs went on to win their next 2 games. I don't recall if they've played a third since then. But it's possible. You are looking it up now.
I am.
But we stopped making notes after the first 2 games. And Mark Masters had a tweet for the first game that they played, which was... I can't remember if that was the one against... No, that wasn't the one against
Do we know
Colorado.
what?
Vegas was his last
after
game.
Vegas, yeah. So they won against Arizona. They won against Colorado.
Okay, yeah, so there's only been 2 games.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they played Arizona first, played Colorado second. So Mark Masters tweeted, Sheldon Keefe wasting no time making changes. Mikheyev with Tavares, Hyman to the right wing, Spezza at 3C, Kerfoot to the wing, Patan stays in with Engvall and Gauthier, Shore is scratched after playing 18 straight games, Riley and Barry starting together, and not Riley Cece. Imagine that.
Who would have thought?
Barry on the top power play, which is his specialty.
That's what he does.
And Andreas Janssen getting penalty kill reps. And then they won that game against Arizona. It was so satisfying. Tyson Barrie got his first goal with the Leafs.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens when you actually utilize a player like
they should
like
be.
they should be.
And not just, we know how he should be used, but we're trying to mold him into a different player. That's not how that works!
No. You use people for what they're good for.
That's why he was acquired. To be a right-handed shot that can put up points. So Barry gets his first, Engvall gets his first NHL goal, and Austin Matthews scores against Arizona, where he grew up. The Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Arizona Coyotes. And another tweet from Mark Masters from a quote by Sheldon Keefe after the game. They gave me the puck after the game. It has the Coyotes logo on it, which is pretty meaningful for me and my family. My mother-in-law is here. My in-laws and my wife are from here in Arizona. So that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And the reaction from all of the players seems to be that they are all beyond pleased that Babcock was fired.
I mean,
They all seem very happy to be playing for Sheldon Keefe.
good.
Yep. Austin Matthews had a quote about Sheldon saying, really passionate. He wants us to utilize our skill sets. He wants us to play free and not that it's a free-for-all for everybody, but he wants us to compete and utilize the God-given talents that we have. Hopefully we can build on this.
Huh.
Imagine using your players to their highest abilities.
What?
And not just forcing a square peg into a round hole of a system that doesn't fit your highly skilled players. Oh.
What an absolute concept.
Yes. So, things were going good in the Sheldon Keefe era of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then... And then... I don't have these tweets in my Word doc because I just got completely exhausted from preparing all the rest of this. So this started yesterday. The Toronto Sun released an article talking about Mike Babcock and how the players think of him and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Account for Hockey took a screenshot of part of that article, and his comment was, "This is insanely fucked up by Babcock."
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that gets my attention. I'm like, oh, what happened?
Right, you know.
Like some drama.
Spill the tea.
Oh boy. So, the screenshot from the article from the Toronto Sun reads, "One tale was related to us in the past few days that is said to have occurred in the 2016-17 season during the annual Father's Trip. Babcock was alleged to have asked one of the Leafs rookies to list the players on the team from hardest working to those who, in the eyes of the rookie, did not have a strong work ethic. The rookie did so, not wanting to upset his coach, but was taken aback when Babcock told the players who had been listed at the bottom." So I saw this, and I was like, wow, that's real fucked.
Yeah.
And then Ian Tulloch quote tweeted that and said, "I heard about this when it happened, but he couldn't confirm it, so he didn't want to break the story open," anything like that. And he said that rookie was Mitch Marner. Oh, boy. So, originally, after reading all of this yesterday, I was like, I don't really want to talk about this because it hasn't really been confirmed, except by people in the media, and the media has just been a firestorm ever since Babcock was fired, with people being happy and people being upset, and people saying he's the worst person ever, and people saying he's the best coach, and it's just been back and forth.
Right.
But then today, I was on Twitter again, and Mitch confirmed that this was a thing that happened. So he was asked about it, and Kristen Shilton had tweets with quotes from Mitch Marner. And she said, "Mitch Marner on Mike Babcock sharing his list of hardest and least hardest working Leafs when he was a rookie. Mitch said, 'It was just surprising. I was lucky enough that the guys that were there with me, none of them took it to heart, and they knew it wasn't up to me.'" And then he said, Marner on Leafs teammates not holding it against him. "It was huge for a first-year guy," because Marner was a rookie.
He was a rookie, yeah.
"I didn't really know what to think, but I was lucky enough to have the first-year group with me, and our team was very tight and very well-knit together. That was a lucky situation." So the two guys that he named as being the least hard-working, that's a weird statement,
Right.
were Tyler Bozak and Nazem Kadri. And apparently those two just completely took it in stride. Naz took Mitch out to dinner a few nights after this happened, from reports that I've seen, and they knew that it was all on Babcock, and they were pissed with the coach.
Right.
And not the 19-year-old rookie just coming into the league that's well-liked in the locker room.
He's just trying to please the coach. Like,
he wants playing time.
He didn't think he had a choice, which
Right.
he didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't. The coach asks you to do this. You do it.
Imagine, it doesn't matter how highly regarded of a rookie you are. You're Patrick Kane. You're
Right.
Connor McDavid. You're Mitch Marner. You sit in an office and you're across the desk from Mike Babcock, coach of Team Canada, coach
First of all, that's
the
terrifying.
Detroit Red Wings, and
Yeah.
now of the Toronto Maple Leafs, highly sought after coach when he
Mm-hmm.
ended his career with Detroit. He's been a well respected in the media.
Yeah.
One of the more powerful hockey figures in the hockey world for the past however many years.
Yeah.
You're a 19-year-old kid. You don't want to piss the guy off.
No.
Because you're not going to get playing time and maybe get sent down.
Right.
So what is he supposed to do other than what he did? And there were reports that he was in tears when...
Shit, I know I would have been.
me too.
That's appalling.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I know you don't work a conventional job.
No,
but
I
like,
don't.
if your boss came to you and was like, I need you to list people in order
Oh my god.
of how hard they work, their work ethic, list our best employees to our worst.
No.
First of all, that's terrifying.
Yes.
But then they go and share that list
While
with
you're
those-
in the room.
with those people.
Yes.
So those people know what you said
What
about
you
them.
said and where you ranked them from the hardest working to least hardest working.
That would have broken me.
Yeah.
Like,
And Mitch even put himself at the bottom of that list.
yeah, he said he needs to work harder. He needs to...
He was 19.
He was a child. Okay, I know. 19 is still a kid. I don't care what you say.
Definitely a kid.
Like, you're legally an adult, but
Yeah,
you're a teenager.
you're a child.
You are a child. Like, there's no... I don't care what context.
An NHL rookie.
Yeah. No. They're...
That's manipulative, it's abusive, it's...
Yes.
I don't know how it didn't tear that team apart. And these guys just...
Right. Imagine if Naz or Tyler Bozak had, like, held that against him.
Right.
That could have absolutely soiled his career.
It could have.
He could have not progressed any further.
Yeah. One of the most talented players in the NHL, and it could have been ruined right then.
Exactly.
Because it could have broken
Just
his
because the
spirit.
coach
It could have...
wanted to haze him.
Yeah. It could have broken his drive.
Right.
Get better.
It's just appalling. Like, I am flabbergasted that a coach of that caliber would do that. Like,
Yeah. And I get the most upsetting thing, and I don't have the tweet in front of me, so I can't read it word for word, but Rachel Dory was saying that it happens a lot more often than you would think around the
that
league.
makes me feel sick.
Yes. 100%.
Why would you intentionally try to pit guys against each other like that?
On the same team.
Exactly. You're on a team.
You're
This
supposed
is a
to-
team
yeah.
sport.
You're supposed to be working together and
They need-
battling for the guys on your bench.
Right. You want everyone on your team to succeed.
Yes.
You cannot turn guys against each other and win games.
Nope.
What is the logic behind this?
Yeah, so then there was a tweet from Elliot Friedman this morning. And he said, I reached out to Mike Babcock today about the Mitch Marner story as reported by Kosh, Toronto's son. Maybe
Okay.
that must have been the guy who wrote it. But, yeah. Via text, he replied, I was trying to focus on work ethic with Mitch. Focusing on role models ended up not being a good idea. I apologized at the time.
Not a good idea, huh?
Not a good idea.
Who would have thought that could go south?
An apology is not enough in
God,
a
no.
situation like that.
God, no. I just don't even have the words for this. Like, I cannot believe. I can believe it.
I can believe it.
I can believe it for sure. But it's
Especially
just...
with all the things coming out about Babcock after his firing. I mean, maybe the worst thing for his career was coaching in Toronto, where the
Honestly.
media is everywhere.
Yeah, it's the hockey capital of the world.
Because
Like,
it was said, like, he did this in Detroit, too, but it didn't break open when he was in Detroit.
No.
But go to Toronto and get fired, and people are going to talk.
Man. It's just... I'm flabbergasted.
I want to see who the next GM is going to be that is going to have the balls to hire this guy. Because you know he's going to get another job. I've seen takes that say you don't have to be a good guy to be a good coach, which obviously you don't luck into over 700 wins in the NHL. He knows how to coach a team.
Right, he lost this team.
Not a team with this much skill, probably, and maybe his coaching is outdated and he needs to evolve. But he's going to get another job. And that's the most horrifying thing.
Being fired, they don't have to pay him, right? Or do they?
Oh, they have to pay him.
They still have to pay him?
They have to pay him.
He still had like 5 years on his contract, didn't he?
I don't remember, but he's making $6 million. I don't think he gives a flying fuck what's being said about him.
Not
right now.
at all. He can sit wherever he wants to sit in the world right now.
Yep.
And ignore everything
and be
happening.
totally fine. But man, it's a miracle that Mitch re-signed in Toronto, knowing that Babcock was his coach.
Dude.
It puts into perspective Austin and Mitch taking every single dollar that they could from this team.
I'm not mad at him anymore.
No.
Like, that just absolved him of every single thing that I was upset with him for.
Yeah.
I was mad at him for holding out.
Yep.
I was mad at him for asking for so much money.
Can you blame him now?
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Nope.
There's no way.
It makes me wonder if he was like, yeah, I'll sign if you get rid of this coach.
Shit, I would not blame him.
Right, me either.
If those were his stipulations for re-signing in Toronto, I would not blame him a single bit. No. I couldn't work under somebody that did that to me.
Not at all.
Especially if it was an ongoing thing. Maybe not things to that extent.
Right.
But if this was something that was happening, no fucking way.
It just makes you wonder if he's done it to other rookies.
I would not be
after
surprised
Mitch
at all.
They've had so many young guys coming through.
Yeah.
Maybe he hasn't done the exact same thing, but something along that line.
But something abusive, something manipulative like that.
Yeah. So that's the bombshell that was dropped on the hockey world yesterday.
There's been something daily lately.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of people were criticizing the media for not breaking the story open. And so Kat Silverman had a
beloved guest on this show.
Had a great tweet thread explaining why maybe people in the media wouldn't break it open when they learned about this a few years ago.
Right.
So I'll just read the whole thing. She said, I've seen a lot of people asking why, if so many media members knew about Mike Babcock's problematic rookie story, no one came forward and reported it before Babcock's dismissal from the team. A couple of reasons this kind of thing gets kept secret. Oftentimes, people within organizations will give information off the record for context, but expect the media member they tell to use it for context only and not burn them. Source burning is more than just losing access. Oftentimes, off-the-record info is given with trust. It's not just about dirty secrets. Sometimes it's something as simple as being told a player is dealing with something personal, so to hold off on speculations or reports. Other times, it's player observations from a coach that help you do your job but aren't for public eye. There's also the question of whether or not you want to make things even harder on a player in a situation like the Babcock one. There's a media public firestorm over a situation like that. You have to think, will this make things worse on the player you're protecting? My rule of thumb for reporting things told via access: will not reporting the information cause harm to someone? If not, is it worth these other consequences? Lost trust, potentially making things worse for the player just to get the scoop? Oftentimes, it's not. I'm sure some media sat on the story because they wanted to protect Babcock, but we spend so much time clawing and howling for information that we don't always consider. We don't actually need to know every little piece of gossip that goes down. Hope that adds perspective. And I just thought that was a good thread to explain it from the media side, because people were all over media sources for not breaking this when so many people knew about it.
For sure. And I'm not mad at anybody for not saying something sooner. Everything that Kat said makes absolute sense.
Right.
And if it was just gossip, no, it should not be reported on.
Right. And a lot of the people couldn't confirm it. Like, yeah, even if you get a source from inside the organization, unless the player or coach himself confirms that, it's still speculation. And if you're wrong...
Yeah, that's detrimental.
You're fired.
Yes.
for breaking something like that. That's,
Absolutely.
That can destroy somebody's reputation on both sides, the player or the coach.
Yes.
So I don't blame the media at all.
No.
And it's not their job, like she said, to clue us in on every little piece of gossip or everything that happens. We're here to watch hockey.
Right.
But there's things that are just rather interesting to discuss once they are confirmed. And to end the Mitch Marner, Mike Babcock talk, there are 2 tweets from other accounts that I will read, and the first one is from @the_Oak_Leafs, activated defenseman. I think the Leafs' young players have earned another level of respect and faith from even the most traditional fans of the Crest. Considering not a single one said even one thing publicly about any bullshit they've endured over the past 3 years, it's impressive in my opinion.
Respect for sure.
And then a good one to end on is from @JoeyFerg, Flo Jurgensen.
Flo Jurgensen.
I now like Mitch Marner a lot more and can't wait for him to come back and tear it up under Keefe. That's the positive I'm choosing to take away from that awful story.
That is the perfect place to end this story because
Yes.
I could not agree more.
Yes. So, on to more Maple Leafs news. They recalled Michael Hutchinson from the Marlies today and sent Kazimir Kaskisuo down.
Suo?
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 Kaskisuo.
Wow.
Kaskisuo. And Heart of Vlad tweeted, so glad the Leafs are giving Hutchinson a second chance in behind defense that actually maybe will know what it's doing. He deserves this. And I agree, for dealing with the start to the season that he had where he was simply played in the second half of back-to-backs, and
Yes.
that is literally all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then there was a tweet from Mike Zeisberger. Keefe on his philosophy on how to use goalies in back-to-back games. Every situation is unique. In other words, we'll be flexible on how he uses them.
Wow.
Imagine that.
And
And I think that just puts a nice little cherry on top of the Maple Leafs discussion for this episode.
I agree.
Now we move on to our Blackhawks. Our Blackhawks who are on a losing streak. Blackhawks.
But
But what?
we'll get there.
Okay. So the first is a tweet from NHL Public Relations, and that is, Patrick Kane of the Blackhawks required the 4th fewest games in NHL history among U.S.-born players to reach 600 career regular season assists. So that's exciting. Took him 925 games.
All right.
Yeah. He's
Good for
behind Brian Leach, Phil Housley, and Doug White. So he's in some good company there.
Yeah. You're okay.
So then we had a game against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, we did.
And Jeremy decided to play 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. He scratched Dominic Kubalik, and he put Slater Cuckoo into the lineup. And you had some thoughts.
Didn't work.
It didn't. We lost 4-2.
Yeah, we did.
The 4th one was an empty netter,
That it was.
to be fair. But, yeah, the Twitter universe, again, this is a very Twitter-centric episode. It was very alive with hate for Jeremy after his decision to play 7 defensemen.
That's been a trend lately.
Yep. Yeah, it has. It's been a trend ever since he was hired.
Can I interject something here?
Yep.
The people, I will name no names,
Okay.
everyone
Mm-hmm.
who has suggested that the Blackhawks should talk to Mike Babcock.
Oh, no. No.
No.
Nope.
Hard fucking pass.
I will become an Avalanche fan.
And you hate the Avs.
I do. But they have Nathan McKinnon and Kale McCarr.
And Miko.
And they drafted Bo and Byram.
They
so
did.
I would
It
get
would
my
be
guy
perfect
after
for you. Anyway, that was just something I needed to say. Mike Babcock will not be the Blackhawks' next head coach.
No. So before all of the nonsense with how he's treated his players dropped, I was of the opinion that it wouldn't happen anyways, because a team who fires Q isn't going to hire Babcock, because they're very much along the lines of the same type of play style as a coach, not the same type of person.
Correct.
Same type of play style.
Yes.
I do not want that to get misconstrued to me thinking that Q is a terrible person like Mike Babcock is.
No.
But they're very much both old school type coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Stan wanted to bring in a fresh and younger voice.
Completely fair to say.
With Jeremy. So, yes, you didn't quite understand why Jeremy would go along the lines of playing 7D and
Right.
11 forwards.
It just, because they were playing fairly well before that game.
But they had lost the game prior.
But they
So
weren't playing bad.
And they didn't necessarily play terrible in the Tampa game. I mean,
No.
it was one of those games where I was watching it and I was like, they're going to lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can just tell when it's going to happen, and that was one of them.
Right.
But it wasn't because we had 7D playing instead of 12 forwards. And Slater Cuckoo got traded to us from Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very common for players who are traded to an organization to suit up against their former team.
Right.
In our case, he was a defenseman and not a forward. And our defense has been okay lately. So I understood why he would go the route of adding a defenseman and scratching a forward rather than taking out one of our defenders. And Kane got to get more playing time, and he's been playing well.
Yes.
And he wants to play more, and Kane was very happy with playing more minutes. Obviously not happy with the outcome of the game.
Right. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
It just seemed like an odd decision because it's not a common thing for the Hawks to
argue it was an odd decision, but it happens a lot more often around the league than I feel like people know.
Maybe
that was a weird way to say that, but more than people realize, I guess. It happens a lot more often than people realize.
Right.
And I can't blame them for that. A lot of people pay attention to one team, and that's the exact same way I am with football. Like, I pay attention to the Bears, and
right.
I know absolutely nothing about what other teams are doing, and a lot of people are like that with hockey.
Mm-hmm.
There's 31 teams. That's a lot to keep up with.
It is.
And there are games every night. I don't blame anybody for not being absolutely maniacal like I am.
Right.
So,
you just make your whole life about hockey.
I do. So, it was an odd decision, but it didn't surprise me, and I wasn't upset by it, because it's something that a lot of teams use just to, like, throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks.
Okay, maybe it was an odd decision is the wrong way to word it. Maybe it just caught me off guard. I was not expecting it. You said it didn't surprise you. I was not expecting it.
Okay. I don't think much surprises me.
Fair.
With this team.
Again, I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
I just, it didn't work.
Yes.
They tried it.
Yes.
I wouldn't be mad if they tried it again.
Right. Yeah.
But we know somebody who would be.
The captain, maybe?
That's the one.
So he's been on a tirade lately, and a lot of it is being construed as him not agreeing with the coaching of Jeremy. And that is pure speculation.
Mm-hmm.
But that is what is being said. So there's that.
Do with that what you will.
But Jeremy came in November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Toews had one of the best seasons of his career last year.
Yes.
So I don't understand why he wouldn't be willing to buy in. He is traditionally a slow starter.
Yes.
All throughout his career, and that is very evident again this year. But when you are paid $10.5 million and you are not playing like at least a second liner in the NHL, I don't feel like you have the... I won't say the right, because you have the right to say anything. You don't... It is not taken very well when you speak out against your coach's decisions or against the officiating or just seem like you have a sour attitude overall. Because you are the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yes.
Everything runs through you.
Correct.
We had this same problem earlier this year with one of our alternate captains and Brent Seabrook, and we covered that, how he was not happy with being benched when he was playing like maybe a beer league defenseman.
Total butt shit.
Yes. Yes. He hasn't been as bad in the last few games, so I won't say that he has been, but when you wear a letter for any team in the highest league in your chosen sport, when you wear a letter for a historic franchise, an Original Six team, and you are playing like garbage, I lose a bit of respect for you when you come out and criticize your coach's decisions and the like, because you need to play like you actually give a fuck out on the ice before you have any place to talk about what anybody else is doing. And Toews has been losing battles. He looks slow. He can't hit the back of the net to save his life. He's bobbling passes. And he has looked a bit better in like the past game or two. But yeah. So after that game against Tampa, when Jeremy dressed 7 defensemen and 11 forwards, Toews said after the game, and these were tweeted by Ben Pope, also one of my new favorite follows on Twitter.
New?
Yeah.
You didn't follow him before?
I mean, I did at the beginning of the season or whenever he was hired to do his thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said, Jonathan Toews did not seem particularly happy about the Hawks deciding to only dress 11 forwards. And the quote from Toews is, I mean, things were going pretty good with 4 lines and the lineup we had. You'll have to ask the coaches on that one.
Shady.
That's just a sourpuss quote.
Yeah.
When you, sir, haven't done shit this season. So, yeah, maybe criticize your own game and not criticize what the coach is doing.
Yeah. So
he asked Jeremy about his reasoning. And these are also tweets from Ben Pope. He said, Colleton on his reasoning. We wanted to get Cuckoo in. It's his old team. Think it was the right thing to do. Kaner's playing really well. Opportunity to give him a little bit more. Ultimately, I don't think we had enough guys going up front. And then he said, I followed up asking Colleton if this would discourage him from going 11 forwards in the future. Not really. I think 7D is always an option. Depends on the circumstances. It's not something you're going to do consistently, but sometimes it's an option to put the right guys in, which I agree with. And then full Colleton comments on Kubalik. Not unlike some of our other young forwards, it's compete level away from the puck and winning 50-50s. To put yourself in a position to be in the offensive zone, he's a good player and he's going to help us and he'll respond. And that was that. I mean, they lost the game. Tampa took advantage of mistakes.
Right.
They were in the game until the very end, and then it broke down. Tampa scored some more goals. Hawks couldn't keep up and give their goalie some run support, as we've seen all season.
I was going to say, this isn't anything new. No. It's not because they went 11 forwards.
Not at all. So then we face the Dallas Stars, who have been absolutely tearing it up in their last month. It's only November, but I feel like a lot of teams have played a lot of games so far.
Yeah.
They have, like, one overtime loss in the last 12 games or something asinine like that. And the Hawks lost 2-1 in the shootout. Mm-hmm. And the Hawks could have won in regulation, but Anton Hudobin had a miraculous save.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah. But Robin Lehner was also very, very good in this game, too, obviously, only allowing one goal in regulation and overtime. So...
It was like 40 or 41 saves, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
So, Lehner has been on the record saying that he is no good at shootouts. And, I mean, hey, admit we're...
Right. He's one of the most honest guys in the league. Like,
he is.
He'll tell you what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm. And so when it went to a shootout, I was like, oh, well, we lost this one. Funny enough, they did a shootout drill today, and he started it by going 4 for 4 on saves, so that was funny. So he met with the media this morning, and he gave a lot of quotes about the shootout and what he thinks about them. So these are more tweets from Ben Pope, or mostly his writing, because it's all quotes from Lehner. But he said, Robin Lehner's media session today will be remembered for a long time. Here's a thread of some of the highlights, starting with his explanation of why shootouts are so rough for him. So Lehner said, my strength is reading the play. My strength is reading what's going to happen, and I can determine I need to be set for a shot or I need to be set for a deke. That's what my good abilities are. In my opinion, I'm always ready. People don't beat me clean on shots. My clear shot save percentage over my career is up there with some of the best. My reading the game is my best ability, and the shootout, I'm in and in between the whole time. I can't determine if he's going to shoot or he's going to deke. They come in slow motion, and they can do both, and then I'm 50-50 instead of set for doing one thing. Same with the breakaway. Breakaway comes in, I know by the hash marks if he's shooting or if he's deking. You can see the back pressure, you can see how fast he's coming, you can see how he has a stick, you know what's going to happen. You can't in a shootout. They come in on a side angle, and they come in slow, and they break, and they stop. I can't read it. It takes away the best part of me as a goalie, and that's just how it is. Lehner on if he thinks shootouts should be eliminated altogether. I don't think they should eliminate it. I think 10 minutes 3-on-3 would be nice because 3-on-3 is a lot more entertaining than a shootout. The fan in the 3-on-3 is nuts, and there's always good chances, and we're playing hockey. We're letting hockey determine the fate of it. There's a lot of breakaways in 3-on-3, so you've still got a shootout element to it, but who am I to judge? Let the big boys decide on that one. Lehner on if he'd support being subbed for Crawford in future shootouts. If the coach feels that, he should definitely go for it. I definitely would not be mad. All the team, man, and I wouldn't take it personal because I know I'm a good hockey goalie. It's nothing to do with the shootout. It's nothing to do with the breakaways. It's a totally different game. Lehner on negative media coverage. It's incredibly annoying. You know, we went head-to-head against one of the best teams in the league last game. What are they, 10-1 last 11 games? Pavelski, Corey, Perry, Ben, Sagan, Klingberg, Bishop, Hudobin, all these guys. We lose that game, and it's all the headlines. DeBrincat can't buy a goal. Robin can't save a shootout. We can't get a call. The negativity is overwhelming. I think we've been playing a little bit up and down, but we're getting better, and we're in the race. We played a great game against one of the better teams. We lost in the lottery, and then it all turns negative. And finally, Lehner on his bond with Blackhawks and Islanders fans. Blackhawks fans are awesome. Obviously, the Islanders fans, we have a little bit of a special bond. It's not hockey related. The bond I have with the Islanders fans, in my opinion, has nothing to do with hockey. They supported me from day one without even knowing me, so that's more of a human connection. That's why it's always been strong. But the one I've started to build in Chicago has been amazing too. They're great. Really happy with how I get treated here. Whew!
Huh.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he has a lot to say, and I appreciate all of it.
Yeah, he's not just going to give you the one-liners that are...
He's not a hockey talker.
Yes.
He doesn't just give you the basic bullshit,
Yes.
boring nothingness that
Exactly.
the NHL is so good for all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, and this is a guy who has every right to be as negative as anybody on the team with how they've been playing in front of him this season.
Yes.
But he chooses to look at the positives and support his team.
He speaks nothing but good about the boys in front of him, even when they play like shit.
Yeah, so it made me laugh a little bit when he was talking about the media negativity, because it's also coming straight from his captain.
Right.
And he was saying not getting a call or whatever, and Toews had quotes about that after the Dallas game, because there was a penalty called against the Hawks for too many men, which was a very weak penalty. And then Shaw got tripped when there was a few seconds left in overtime, and that went uncalled. But Toews was not happy about the too many men penalty. But if you had played better throughout regulation or the beginning of overtime, and maybe, I don't know, got some more chances, you wouldn't be in this situation to begin with.
Correct.
And here you are, and there's bad calls made in every single game. You just got to deal with it. And you killed the penalty. Why are you complaining? It's not like you got scored on the penalty kill.
Right.
You killed the penalty.
So it's irrelevant.
Exactly. Exactly. So that was another instance of Toews complaining to the media, and he's just full of that lately, and it's really starting to drive me up a wall a bit, because he can't keep his mouth shut, but he also exhibits nothing on the ice.
Right. He's being negative, he can't do anything positive.
Exactly.
Like, if you do something...
If you're actually playing well and looking like you give a fuck, and everything around you is just going to shit, then yeah, maybe you'll say something.
For sure.
But god damn. So after that game, yesterday, Lehner got on Twitter.
As he does after almost every game.
Yeah.
He has something to say.
So he tweeted, "First, let's get this out of the way. It's not a mental problem because I don't feel any type of pressure anymore. Proven that with my performance in contract years and in countless insane situations, and I can still perform on the ice. So here we go. I want to hear from all the experts in the media on what my new shootout strategy should be. Smiley face. I'm all ears. The shootout is not hockey, so I gotta learn this sport somehow, and hopefully one of the experts can help me, as all my goalie coaches haven't been able to yet. Sabres fans would love to hear your opinion as well. Don't be shy. Smiley face, heart, let's turn this around. Panda emoji, happy Sunday." And I just thought that was amazing.
He's so precious.
He is. And he's just calling out people on their BS for thinking they know better than he does on how to be a good shootout goalie.
Uh-huh.
And some people just aren't, you know?
I mean, we've all got our strengths and we've all got our weaknesses. We can't all be good at everything.
Right. And a couple days ago, Charlie Remiliotis tweeted, "Robin Lehner now ranks number 1 among NHL goaltenders in save percentage, a .938.
Jesus.
And goals saved above average with 13.7.
Man.
That's absolutely insane."
But he's absolutely right in the fact that the shootout is not hockey.
It's not.
It is... I don't like the fact that it decides games, because the entire 65 minutes you just played is irrelevant now. Nothing that happened matters.
Yeah, but if you would have played better, you would get to that point.
Agreed, but...
And if you just have endless overtime like in the playoffs, you're gonna wear out very quickly.
Oh yeah, the players would not go for that. Especially with there being back-to-backs and stuff like that.
Nope.
But...
So then you go back to bringing in ties, and that just...
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people advocating for the 3-point system.
Right.
But I hate ties with
Me
passion.
too.
I hate that football has ties.
Yes.
I don't like that at all. I don't want that in hockey.
Yep. I would be okay with a 10-minute 3-on-3 overtime.
Agreed.
But I'm one of those few people that actually enjoys a shootout.
I like the shootout for what it is. I don't like that it decides games.
I mean, you got penalty kicks in soccer. It's like the same thing. It's like a shootout, but soccer.
Have I ever defended penalty kicks in soccer?
I don't believe so. I'm just saying hockey's not the only place where this happens.
No. I see what you're saying.
I don't know. I like them.
They're fun.
I don't like them when it's my team because they're stressful.
Yes.
But I enjoy a shootout and I'll defend it. So.
Okay. All right.
But I would be okay with a 10-minute 3-on-3.
5 minutes just seems...
It's very short.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want all the chaos, so they should implement a 10-minute 3-on-3 with the half-court rule.
Hell yeah. Bring it.
Perfect. But then we have another tweet about Robin from Slavko Bekovic. FYI, Robin Lehner ranks 9th in NHL recorded history in save percentage at .9189. So that's for his career. That's above Lundqvist, Price, Rinne, and Bobrovsky.
Man.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
How did we get this guy?
I still don't understand that one. I don't know that I ever will.
Nope.
How we just ended up signing him out of nowhere.
Yeah. That was madness.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of people advocating, or I guess questioning, whether the coaches would bring in Crawford for just the shootout, since he's historically pretty good at them. I mean, yeah. he lost his only one this year. But
I trust him in the shootout, though.
Me too. But bringing a goalie in cold for a shootout is a very good way to rip his groin.
I agree.
And that's just not going to happen. I don't think even he would want that. And Lehner said he wouldn't be mad about it.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't think there's... Yes, Corey is historically good at shootouts, and he is good at them. But I don't think Robin's going to lose every single one that he's in, and so you're just kind of predicting. I don't know. There's a lot of guessing that goes into it. Because what if you put Corey in and he loses, but if you had kept Robin in, he would have won.
Right.
Just play the goalie who's been in the game and knows what the shooters have been doing.
Yeah.
And even though he's bad at them, he's still a good goalie.
Oh, for sure. I don't think anybody's questioning that.
And he'll be able to read the shots from time to time. So, I don't know. I can't see them ever doing it.
What, putting Corey in for the shootout? No, I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't think it's a good idea. Like I said, I don't think Corey would even like doing that. Like, yeah, maybe he would love to get the win for the team and everybody would
of course
have nice, warm and fuzzies, but he's like, I got the night off. Why am I going in here at crunch time to try to win a game that I haven't played for the first 65 minutes?
Right.
But it's just kind of silly. So, another stat about the Hawks from Slavko Bekovic again. Fun fact, Dylan Strome is on pace for 61 points and a plus 36 on the season.
What the fuck?
So, he's been quietly doing okay.
Very quietly.
I've seen a lot of criticisms about him not doing well. But,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't think he's been doing badly. I just haven't...
If Kat would actually score a goal or two this season, then he would have more points and they'd probably look like they were doing a lot better, but they're not lighting up the world like they were last year. So I feel like that's where people are getting the disconnect and saying, oh, Strome's been bad. No, DeBrincat just can't score a goal.
Right.
So, yes. In other news, Highmore got called up today.
Yeah, he did.
It's a good transition between our two teams. So the Blackhawks called him up. He's had 4 goals and 6 assists in 17 games this year. And Ben Pope got a quote from him. Just having more poise with the puck, making tighter plays, that's something I focused on when I was hurt last year. And I had a lot of time in skill sessions and whatnot. Because he was injured all season.
Yeah, he had shoulder surgery at the beginning of the season. So he was out, like, literally almost the whole season.
Yeah.
I think he came back for, like, maybe a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So the Blackhawks are still broken.
Well, you know.
They're
working on it.
They're playing better.
Yes.
The points will come, but they're still broken, and their captain is not being a captain, and I wish they could just strip him of the C and put it on Kane, because he deserves it a hell of a lot more than Toews does.
Wow. Hot take central over here.
Yeah, well, I decided to land this plane on the IceHogs. So usually we start with the Hogs before the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a rather heavy episode, so I thought we'd just come down and land softly.
On our boys?
On our boys.
Okay.
So we talked last week about how Versteeg left.
Correct.
And so we are left without a captain.
Yet again.
So, Mario Tirabassi?
I'm not sure how to say it, but
Me
let's
either.
go with that.
He had some tweets last week. IceHogs head coach Derek King on refilling captain role. I like having a captain, but we had the captain. Will we replace it? I'm not against it, but I'm not 100% sold yet. King mentioned Matthew Highmore. Well, he's up with the Hawks now. And Tyler Sakura as potential replacement. Said Tyler was already on his radar for the role before the team signed Versteeg. Both have worn the A at times this season, along with Jacob Nielsen and Dennis Gilbert.
I could see Tyler as the captain.
He's been lighting it up lately, too.
He's
so
amazing. I love him.
He has been playing like a leader. I'm sure he's a leader in the locker room.
I feel like he has never gotten the recognition that he deserves.
No.
In any capacity.
Nope.
He doesn't get the
Because
respect.
Dylan was always the higher rated prospect. And they've both been doing well this year.
Yeah,
The Sicky brothers
that
are lighting it
duo,
up.
Man.
And Tyler just keeps scoring, but it mostly seems like he's scoring on the road. It's really
Yeah,
funny.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love both of them.
Yeah, so they're...
Put some respect on Tyler's name.
For real, though. So they're back to their... Well, I guess they never left since we were talking about this last week, but they are still on their train of winning every other game.
Okay. Yeah.
So they lost on Saturday. They
Mhm.
have back-to-backs this weekend, right?
Yes.
Against Texas.
Texas.
In the shootout, it was 7-6.
Both of the teams were in the shootout at the same time.
Against the same franchise.
Against Texas.
Yeah.
In Texas.
The IceHogs had a lot of leads in that game. Somehow
yeah, it was
ended up
6-6, wasn't it?
somehow ended up losing 7-6.
Yeah.
So that was trash. Kevin was in net for that one. I don't know
Was
what
it?
happened there.
Yeah, Tommy was the second half. Wasn't
Tommy was in last night, which was rather interesting to me. I expected Colin to be in net, and then he wasn't.
It's okay. It's okay.
It is. And it was just curious in my mind. I got the notification on Twitter. I was like, I don't disagree with this decision, but now I am curious about why. Tommy seems to keep getting the second half of back-to-backs on the road. I don't know if that's just a system they're going to roll with all season, or if they are really trying the duo of Kevin and Tommy, since Colin has
It might just be coincidental.
not been playing well.
Yeah.
I didn't happen to see who the backup was on either night,
Me either.
so I don't know if he was dressed. I'm assuming he dressed for one of the games unless he just didn't travel, which would be weird.
I feel like they would have announced that.
Yeah, me too. So I'm guessing
He was probably back up for Kevin.
probably. Yeah, so that was interesting. But he won the game in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Nielsen.
Yes.
Won
like
the game.
16 seconds in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, after I think Tyler scored the first goal because they were down 2-0.
Yes, they were.
So Tyler got the first goal, then brother Dylan got the second goal to tie it up. And then Nielsen ended it 16 seconds into overtime. And I just breathed a rather large sigh of relief
Yeah.
that we won that game. So we took 3 out of a possible 4 points on the weekend, which you can't really complain with. The only better outcome would be 4 out of 4 points.
Obviously.
But taking the majority of the points is fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's upsetting that we let a point slip to San Antonio, although they may have let the win slip to us since they had the 2-goal lead. So I'm just glad we came back.
Play them again tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yep, both of the teams play tomorrow. Again, I don't like when they play on the same night. but they do. I'm pretty sure the Leafs play tomorrow, too, so there's a lot of hockey.
No, they don't play until
No?
Wednesday.
Oh, good. Good. I hate when they play on the same night as the Hawks. Then I'm like, I have to choose. And I always watch the Hawks, but then I'm like, I should have watched the Leafs. Especially now that Sheldon Keefe Era is here.
Yeah, man.
So we shall see. And then to end on a positive note for this very unpositive podcast.
Let's go.
That is also very long.
Yeah, it is.
From the IceHogs Twitter account, from our fun fact department, Adam Boquist shared the league lead in assists last week with 5 helpers over his 2 games. He was also the only rookie in the AHL with 5 assists over that stretch.
I love him.
Yes, I'm glad we have him back and that he is not wasting away in the bog of eternal stench in Chicago. So...
Yeah, no, I miss the IceHogs so much.
Me too. We will be at the game on Friday.
And Saturday.
I'm so upset that that game on Saturday is during Stroll on State.
Same. It's so weird. Why would they? I feel like they usually...
The American League has such a weird schedule. It's not like they really have a choice. Because the BMO's not in use, and I feel like that's the only thing that disqualifies a team from having a home game is when their arena is in use. It's just shitty scheduling on the American League's part, which happens often because there's dumb scheduling all season, but
you know,
I don't know, it's upsetting. I went back and forth a lot about skipping that game, but the giveaway is mittens, and I kind of want some mittens.
I mean, I could go. You could do Stroll on State.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll figure it out. I'll at least be there Friday.
I'll be there for sure for both.
Until next Monday, I hope that only positive things happen in the hockey world so we can have a more upbeat episode next week.
Let's bring the positivity, y'all.
Let's bring the positivity. And we will catch you next week. Bye.